The Gold Rush finale delivered everything we wanted. When the final numbers came in, it was a blowout.
The biggest rivalry in Gold Rush history.
Tony Beets is still the king of the Klondike.
Gold Rush Season 16 may be over, but the numbers are still making waves. After months of high-stakes mining, massive risks, and relentless pressure in the Klondike, it all came down to one final weigh-in. Who hit their goals and who fell short? What were the final Season 16 gold totals for Parker Schnabel, Tony Beets, and Rick Ness, as well as Kevin Beets? At the heart of the season stood Parker Schnabel, a miner driven by unfinished business. After what many considered a disappointing and overly expensive previous season, Parker returned with a clear objective: reclaim his throne as the top gold producer in the Klondike. But this wasn't just about working harder, it was about thinking bigger. Parker scaled up his operation to unprecedented levels, running nearly 60 machines and deploying 4 wash plants across his Dominion Creek claim. This aggressive expansion came at a staggering cost, burning through more than $100,000 per day, a figure that underscored just how much he was willing to risk. From the beginning, Parker set a bold target of 10,000 ounces, a benchmark that would re-establish his dominance. Throughout the season, his team battled mechanical breakdowns, logistical challenges, and the sheer complexity of managing such a massive operation. Yet, slowly but surely, the gold totals climbed. By the final weigh-in, Parker delivered 10,596.45 ounces, worth approximately $42 million, an extraordinary achievement by any standard. Under normal circumstances, this would have been a triumphant ending. But Season 16 was anything but ordinary. Standing in Parker's way was his longtime rival, Tony Beets, a veteran whose quiet confidence masked a season for the ages. Tony entered the season with a relatively modest goal of 6,500 ounces, a target that seemed conservative compared to Parker's ambitions. However, what Tony lacked in flashy declarations, he made up for with experience and efficiency. Over decades in the Klondike, he has learned that consistency often beats aggression, and Season 16 proved exactly that. Adopting a multi-wash plant strategy similar to Parker's, Tony maximized his production across several key sites, including the Corner Cut, Find-A-Lot, Herald, and his legendary trommel. While Parker's operation often grabbed headlines, Tony's progress unfolded more quietly, almost methodically. Week after week, his totals grew, and by the time the season reached its climax, it became clear that something special was happening. The final numbers were nothing short of historic. Tony Beets finished with a staggering 11,231 ounces of gold, worth roughly $45 million, the largest haul of his 40-year mining career. In one decisive moment, he not only surpassed Parker but also reaffirmed his status as the king of the Klondike. It was a victory built not on risk alone, but on decades of knowledge, discipline, and an unwavering commitment to the process. For Parker, it was a painful reminder that even his most ambitious effort could not dethrone the reigning king. While the battle between Parker and Tony dominated the spotlight, Rick Ness delivered one of the most compelling narratives of the season. Unlike his competitors, Rick did not begin the season with a strong foundation. In fact, he started with almost nothing, no water license, no claim, and only a fraction of his former crew. For many, it looked like his mining career might be coming to an end. Yet Rick refused to give up. Taking a massive gamble on a new piece of land, he rebuilt his operation from the ground up. His team, often described as a ragtag group, lacked the resources and stability of the larger crews, but they made up for it with determination and grit. Every ounce of gold they recovered felt hard-earned, a testament to their perseverance in the face of constant adversity. By the end of the season, Rick and his crew produced 1,811.56 ounces of gold, valued at over $7.2 million. While this total was far below the leaders, it represented a significant personal victory. More importantly, it ensured that Rick could continue mining without being forced to sell his assets. With both Parker and Tony expressing interest in his land, Rick now finds himself at a crossroads, one that could define his future in the Klondike. For now, he remains committed to staying in the fight, proving once again that he is far from finished. Adding another layer to the season's narrative was the journey of Kevin Beets, who continues to carve out his own identity in the shadow of his father. Entering his second year as a mine boss, Kevin set an ambitious goal of 2,000 ounces, aiming to double his previous season's output. Working at Scribner Creek, he showed early promise, getting gold through the sluice box ahead of schedule and building momentum. However, the harsh realities of mining quickly caught up with him. Key crew members left in search of more stable opportunities, including Brennan Rualt, whose departure triggered a chain reaction that left Kevin's team severely understaffed. With fewer hands on deck, the workload intensified, forcing Kevin and his partner Faith to adapt rapidly. Despite these challenges, Kevin pushed forward. By the final weigh-in, he accumulated 1,591 ounces of gold, worth approximately $6.3 million. While he fell short of his target, the result was far from a failure. Considering the setbacks he faced, it was a respectable haul that demonstrated both resilience and potential. With Tony receiving a 10% royalty on Kevin's gold, the father-son dynamic added pressure, but it also served as a learning experience. Kevin is still growing, still learning, and most importantly, still in the game. In the end, Season 16 will be remembered as one of the most dramatic and competitive seasons in Gold Rush history. It was a season where hitting your goal did not guarantee victory, where experience triumphed over ambition, and where underdogs refused to back down. Parker Schnabel proved he could reach elite production levels again, but Tony Beets reminded everyone why he remains a legend. Rick Ness showed that resilience can keep a dream alive, and Kevin Beets demonstrated that the next generation is ready to rise, even in the face of adversity. As the dust settles and the gold is counted, fans are left with more questions than answers. Can Parker adjust his strategy and finally outmaneuver Tony? Will Tony continue his dominance, or has he reached the peak of his career? What decision will Rick make about his future? And can Kevin take the next step toward becoming a true mining powerhouse? One thing is certain, if Season 16 proved anything, it's that in the unforgiving world of gold mining, success is never guaranteed, and the battle for gold is only just beginning. In the aftermath of a thrilling finale, it's becoming increasingly clear that Season 16 of Gold Rush may very well stand as the greatest season in the show's long-running history. What set this season apart wasn't just the final gold totals, it was the perfect storm of record-breaking production, unpredictable twists, soaring gold prices, and the kind of raw survival grit that defines life in the Klondike. From start to finish, Season 16 delivered a level of intensity and drama that few seasons before it have managed to sustain. One of the most compelling reasons this season stands above the rest is the sheer scale of achievement. Both Tony Beets and Parker Schnabel shattered expectations, pushing their operations to historic heights. Tony's incredible 11,231-ounce season didn't just win him the gold race, it marked the biggest haul of his 40-year career. Meanwhile, Parker's 10,596.45 ounces would have easily secured victory in most other seasons. The fact that two miners crossed the 10,000-ounce mark in the same year speaks volumes about how competitive and evolved the mining strategies had become. And it wasn't just about quantity, it was also about value. With gold prices remaining exceptionally high throughout the season, every ounce carried more weight than ever before. This elevated the stakes across the board, turning already risky decisions into high-pressure gambles with massive financial consequences. When miners chose to invest in new equipment, expand operations, or chase uncertain ground, they weren't just risking time, they were risking millions. This economic backdrop added a new layer of urgency and tension that amplified every success and every failure. Season 16 also thrived on unpredictability. Time and again, expectations were flipped on their head. Parker, who entered the season as the favorite to reclaim his dominance, achieved his ambitious goal, yet still lost. Tony, who began with a more modest target, surged ahead in a way that few could have predicted. These unexpected outcomes kept fans guessing week after week, proving that no lead was safe and no plan was foolproof. Perhaps even more impressive was the evolution of mining strategy on display. Both Parker and Tony embraced large-scale, multi-wash plant operations, signaling a shift toward industrial-level gold mining within the show. The days of relying on a single plant are clearly fading, replaced by complex systems that demand coordination, manpower, and constant maintenance. This strategic arms race added another dimension to the competition, as success was no longer just about finding gold, it was about managing logistics, minimizing downtime, and maximizing efficiency. Yet, amid all the high-powered machinery and million-dollar operations, Season 16 never lost sight of the human element. The journey of Ness was a powerful reminder that gold mining is as much about survival as it is about success. Starting the season with almost nothing, Rick faced challenges that could have ended his career. But through determination and calculated risk-taking, he clawed his way back, proving that resilience can be just as valuable as resources. His story added emotional depth to the season, showing that not every victory is measured in ounces alone. Similarly, Kevin Beets embodied the struggles of growth and independence. As a young mine boss trying to establish himself, Kevin faced crew shortages, operational setbacks, and the pressure of living up to his family name. While he didn't hit his target, his perseverance highlighted the realities of building something from the ground up. In many ways, his journey represents the future of mining on Gold Rush, a new generation learning through hardship and experience. Another defining feature of Season 16 was its relentless intensity. There were no easy wins, no extended periods of comfort. Mechanical failures, harsh weather conditions, workforce instability, and logistical challenges were constant threats. Every crew had to adapt, improvise, and fight to keep their operations running. This constant pressure created a season where survival itself became an achievement, and where every ounce of gold felt hard-earned. What truly elevates Season 16, however, is how all these elements came together seamlessly. The record-breaking gold totals, the elevated financial stakes, the strategic innovation, and the deeply personal struggles all combined to create a narrative that was both epic in scale and intimate in detail. It wasn't just about who mined the most gold, it was about how they did it, what they risked, and what they endured along the way. As fans look back, it's hard to deny that Season 16 raised the bar for what Gold Rush can be. It delivered spectacle without sacrificing authenticity, competition without losing character, and drama without feeling forced. It reminded viewers why the show has remained so compelling for so many years, and why it continues to evolve. With Season 17 on the horizon, expectations have never been higher. Can anyone top the record set this year? Will Parker Schnabel